Tate versus James Prokopovitz, 19 CF 716. We're outside the presence of the jurors, and all appearing parties are present. The bailiff has indicated the jurors have reached a verdict. So first, has the state had sufficient time to have anyone for the victims to be here in the courtroom?
Thank you, Your Honor. We do. We have.
They're all present then?
Yes.
And then, Mr. D'Angelo, anyone that you're waiting for that's in support of your client?
No, Your Honor, they're all present.
All right, so then we have all the parties present, and this has been a long trial. The jurors have deliberated well into tonight. They deliberated late last night, so they've been an extensive amount of deliberation by the jurors, and this is a very serious and important case. I just want to make sure that there's proper decorum in the courtroom when I read the verdict. I don't want, a gasp or a sigh or, any type of verbal audio comments made. The court's going to read the verdict, and the verdict is going to be that has been determined by the jurors who were sworn on this duty and who have done extensive work in deciding this verdict. And so I don't want any indication of approval or disapproval of the juror's verdict by anyone in this courtroom. So I asked you to have proper decorum and that there be no indication when the court reads the verdict into the record. I will be reading that into the record in just a few minutes. With that then, all rise, and bailiff, you may bring in the jurors. Thank you. You may be seated. Would the foreperson rise and then please identify yourself?
Sarah Farley.
And have you reached a verdict in this case?
Yes, we
Are there verdicts on all 4 counts?
have. Yes.
All right, would you hand the verdicts to the bailiff at this time, and then you may be seated. Let the record reflect the verdict has been received by the court. It is in proper form. It has been dated and signed by the foreperson who identified themselves. In the state of Wisconsin versus James M. Prokopovitz, file 19 CF 716, as to the offense of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the second amended information, we, the jury, find the defendant, James M. Prokopovitz, the verdict has been marked guilty. As to the offense of obstructing an officer as charged in count 2 of the second amended information, we, the jury, find the defendant, James M. Prokopovitch, has been marked guilty. As to the offense of conspiracy to commit perjury before court as charged in count 3 of the second amended information, we, the jury, find the defendant, James M. Prokopovitz, guilty. As to the offense of perjury before court as charged in count 4 of the second amended information, we, the jury, find the defendant, James M. Prokopovitz, guilty. It's dated Green Bay, Wisconsin, the 27th day of February, 2021, and it bears the signature of the foreperson. Counsel request polling of the jurors.
We are not.
No, Your Honor.
All right. And that was the no you said?
I'm sorry, yes. No, Your Honor.
Okay. So both sides have then declined their request for polling of the jurors. Jurors, your service in this case is completed. You do not have to answer questions about the case from anyone other than the court. There is no requirement that you maintain secrecy concerning what happened in the jury room, but you do not have to discuss the case with anyone or answer any questions about it. I would like to thank you for your service as jurors. This was a lengthy trial. It was well presented by both counsel, but it raised issues that required serious deliberation and thoughtful review and careful review of the evidence. You've been here 2 days now. I commend you for your staying so late last night. I commend you for coming today and spending so many hours today. And I recognize that it is a great burden that we throw upon the jurors to ask them to hear the case, weigh the evidence, and make a fair and just decision consistent with the facts and the law. And so I thank you. You truly are upright citizens, and we appreciate your service here in the past 2 weeks. I always provide an opportunity for the jurors to discuss any issues or questions they have. Very often, jurors have questions about procedures and issues, and I can answer many of your questions. It's not an obligation that you have to wait here, but if you do, I will come to the jury room shortly after these proceedings are completed and answer any questions that I'm legally permitted to do so. What will happen next is that the court will take motions on the verdict and then schedule a sentencing date. So at this time, you're hereby excused. And again, thank you very much. All rise. And then Joe? You may be seated. Motions on the verdict.
This time, the state is moving for the court to accept the jury verdict.
Defense position.
Your Honor, we understood the lengthy deliberations and will accept the juror's decision in this case.
So the state's motion for judgment on the verdict.
Yes.
Motion is granted. Judgment is entered on the verdict. Judgment of conviction for counts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the second amended information. State requesting a PSI.
Yes, we are, Your Honor. We would also like to be heard on bond.
So you want to be heard on bond?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Based upon the jury verdict, there is no longer a presumption of innocence consistent with the jury verdict and the extensive exposure that the defendant faces. We are asking that the court revoke bond at this time.
Defense argument.
Your Honor, he already had a very high cash bond, so understanding the nature of the case, the verdict of the jury, there is no opposition.
Court will grant the motion. Bond will be revoked. Defendant will be held without bond pending sentencing. Sentencing in 6 weeks about. The Department of Corrections usually requires 6 weeks to prepare a pre-sentence report.
Huh? Yeah.
You may. Looking at the last 2 weeks of April, the week of April 19th to the week of April 26th.
The 26th would work better for the state.
So
You're-
looking at the week of the 26th. 26th is a Monday, obviously goes through the weekend. Friday's the 30th. Is there a day of the week that the victim's family prefers?
What day of the week is it, 26, Your Honor?
26th is a Monday.
Okay. That day?
Your calendar available, the 26th, Mr. D'Angelo?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I'm scheduled for a 4-day trial starting on the 26th in Shawano. I am available on the 29th.
That would be fine.
All right, April 29th, you prefer morning or an afternoon?
Is that a Friday?
That's a Thursday.
Thursday? Afternoon, please.
I'm also available the 30th if it's easier, which is Friday.
You have a preference between the,
You done by then? Or-
What's that? Thursday or Friday? Friday for sure I'll be done.
why don't we do Friday just to be safe? Then we wouldn't have the problem of Mr. D'Angelo's other trial going long. Probably be 1:30 p.m.
That's fine.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, sentencing is scheduled then for 1:30 p.m. on Friday, April 30th. Anything further?
No, again, the state would also thank you, as Attorney D'Angelo has raised before, for your time in stepping into this case. We have nothing further.
You're welcome. All right, the officers then want to come up and you can be doing orderly removal then of the defendant. Oh, yeah.
I'll come and see you, John.
Go up to the, This time the court stands in recess. Thank you.
Take down the speaker.
Maybe that's just
I have never done a form. The only thing is when Roman or to get the person's cell phone, you would actually sign the exhibit list. Yeah. As to each one, if you're okay with that.
Oh, so we shouldn't move the smart board then? No, we were gonna swap them out because they were, yeah. For Judge Zeismelder let us keep in here, but we were back in that corner, and then the smart TV was over here. So they just have to be swapped.
Is evidence in chamber? Okay. I'm standing by as for Roman. Because he's got it wrong.